I'm going to try to make this video quick. Hello, I am the Dependent Fanatic channel. We're talking about the most must-see games for every team. Who has the most must-see games? We're starting with number one, Alabama. Why not? They missed the playoff last season with 2 losses. I think they have 6 must-see games this week, and it's basically every other week. Week 2 versus Texas, Week 4 versus Mississippi, Week 6 at Texas A&M, Week 8 versus Tennessee, Week 10 versus LSU, and Week 13 at Auburn are all must-see TV for Alabama. Most of them are at home. We'll see if they can survive that type of a gauntlet. We're all going to be watching. Number 2. And number 2 through number 10 are all tied with 4 must-see games this season. I'm going to try to make this quick here. Texas. Week 2 at Alabama. Week 6 versus Oklahoma. Week 10 versus Kansas State. Week 11 at TCU. Sarkisian, Ewers, Manning, what can they do? Week number 3, Penn State. They have 4. Week 3 at Illinois with Brett Bielema. Week 4, the very next week, Iowa at home. Week 8 at Ohio State, and then Week 11, Michigan at home at noon. Big noon. Thank you. Eller is the key there. What will he do for Penn State this season? Number 4, Clemson has 4 good games coming up. In Week 4 they have Florida State. Week 10, it's a long stretch between Week 4 and Week 10, but they have Notre Dame. And then Week 12, North Carolina. Week 13 at South Carolina. Can Dabo and Klubnik survive them last 3 of the 4 games this season? Wow. Week 10, Notre Dame. 12, North Carolina. 13 at South Carolina. Number 5 on this list and must-see games is Ohio State. Week 4, they are at Notre Dame. Week 8, Penn State. Week 9 at Wisconsin. So 2 games in a row right there, must-see. Week 13 at Michigan, of course, is must-see. Penn State and then Wisconsin, they're back-to-back. It's going to be tough for Ohio State. That's the stretch that I'm looking forward to the most. Number 6, Utah. Week 5, they're at Oregon State. Must-see TV. Week 8 at USC. Week 11 at Washington. Week 9 actually is before that. They have Oregon at home. But 3 of those 4 games are on the road for Utah. The Pac-12 starts Week 5 when Utah goes to Oregon State. All of the Pac-12 games are backloaded this season. It's going to be must-see TV for a lot of these, and they're coming up here shortly. But number 7 is Wisconsin, believe it or not. Week 7, they have Iowa at home. And then Week 8 at Illinois. Week 9, Ohio State. So 3 weeks in a row, we're going to be paying attention to Wisconsin. And then Week 13, their very last game of the season, they are at Minnesota. That could make or break them for the Big Ten West Division. But them 3 straight, Week 7 through Week 9, will be interesting. Number 8 is USC. They have 4 interesting games. Must-see TV. Week 7 as well, at Notre Dame. Week 8, Utah at home. Week 10, Washington at home. And then Week 11 at Oregon. So 4 of 5 are must-see TV there for USC to end the season. Like I said, most Pac-12 games are going to be interesting late. Oregon is the next team. They have a game Week 7 at Washington. Week 9 at Utah. Week 11 versus USC. They get them at home. And then Week 13, Oregon State they have at home. And then the very next team, number 10, Washington. The last team with 4 must-see games. They have week 7. They have Oregon, who was number 9, the same week. But then week 10 at USC. Week 11 they have Utah at home. Week 12 at Oregon State. It's going to be the most exciting conference in the nation. Number 11, the first team with 3 really great must-see games this season is LSU. Week 0, it starts off early. Sunday, I believe, this Sunday. We have college football tomorrow. Actually, we have college football today. LSU, week 0 versus Florida State. And then week 5, they are at Ole Miss, and week 10 at Alabama. So spread out there for LSU. Pay attention to them all season. Florida State, who they play in week 0, is number 12. And then Florida State has in week 4 at Clemson and week 13 at Florida State. Tennessee is number 13. Week 3, they are at Florida. Week 8, they are at Alabama. And week 12, they have Georgia at home. Those are their 3 must-see TV games. Florida has 3. Tennessee at home. On week 9, they have Georgia and the cocktail party. And week 13, they have Florida State at home. So those are their 3 must-see games. Now, I know that each individual fan thinks that every game on their schedule is a must-see game, but this is just my take on what the nation thinks, plus what my predictions think. Florida, I already did. Notre Dame is number 15. They have 3 must-see games. Ohio State in week 4, USC in week 7, and week 10 they are at Clemson. Oregon State comes in at number 16. Week 5 they have Utah at home, Washington at home in week 12, and then at Oregon. So the last 2 games of the season there for Oregon State really is must-see TV. Kansas State is number 17. Week 6 they are at Oklahoma State. They have TCU at home in week 8. And then week 10 they are at Texas. Number 18 is Illinois, another Big Ten team. But this is the first team that only has 2 must-watch games. Penn State, week 3 at home. And week 8, they have Wisconsin at home. Illinois gets them 2 at home. Brett Bielema is at home versus old team versus Wisconsin. That's must-see TV. The next team, though, is interesting because it's Iowa, another Big Ten team. They have a must-see game week 4 at Penn State and week 7 at Wisconsin. So Illinois gets both them teams at home. Iowa gets both them teams on the road. It's a brutal back-to-back stretch at Penn State and at Wisconsin, but I believe Iowa comes out of the Big Ten West with the title. Must-see TV. Ole Miss comes in at number 20. They have week 4 at Alabama and week 5 LSU at home. So back-to-back, brutal back-to-back stretch. Tulane is questionable. You could put them in there as a must-see game for Ole Miss, but they should handle them, right? These are games that I think are not automatic wins for teams. I think Tulane is an automatic win for Ole Miss. So we're getting down to the nitty-gritty of the last 4 teams here. TCU at number 21. Week 8, they are at Kansas State, is must-see. And then Week 11, they have Texas at home. Georgia is number 22. Week 9 versus Florida in the cocktail party. And Week 12 at Tennessee. And then Michigan is number 23. Week 11 at Penn State and Week 13 at Ohio State at home. These three playoff teams don't have games that matter until Week 8. TCU, Georgia, Michigan all made the playoff last season, and I don't think they will struggle mightily at any cost until Week 8, at the very least, for TCU. Michigan might have that third game that is must-watch, that is sandwiched in between Penn State and Ohio State, which is at Maryland. That could be must-see TV. We have to see what happens versus Penn State. And then number 24, the last team that has two must-watch games this season, in my opinion, North Carolina. They have, in Week 12, they're at Clemson. And in Week 13, they're at North Carolina State. The last two games of the season will possibly alter the entire New Year's Six. If you're North Carolina, you could make a playoff. You could get in the New Year's Six. You could take playoff team out, or you could take a couple New Year's Six teams out. That is going to be interesting to see. Must-watch TV for Drake May and North Carolina, the last two games of the regular season. So there you have it. Dependent Fanatics must-watch games this season. Thank you, everybody. Remember to like the videos, subscribe, go back and watch other videos. Comment down below on this video. And have a great night, everybody. We have college football. It's here. Go Blue.